Hey, Commanders fans, welcome back to Commanders HQ, where we're breaking down everything happening inside Ashburn. Before we dive in, let's take a quick moment. If you love this kind of detailed behind-the-scenes analysis, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. The team is working hard every week to get better, to fine-tune every part of the roster and bring real results back to Washington. And we're right here to cover every move that gets us closer to that goal. Now, let's talk about two stories that show exactly what makes this 2025 Commanders squad so fascinating. One about a veteran legend proving he's still got juice left, and another about a rookie running back forcing the entire NFL to take notice. If there's one thing we've learned about general manager Adam Peters, it's that he doesn't do passive. Every offseason, he's turning over every rock, scanning every roster, looking for ways to make the Commanders better, not just this season, but for the long haul. And while Peters' offseason moves have had their share of hits and misses, one particular signing, a one-year $6.1 million deal for future Hall of Famer Von Miller, might be his biggest win of all. Let's be real. When that deal went down, not many people expected much. Miller is 36 years old. He's been through injuries. He's already won 2 Super Bowls. Nobody thought Washington was getting Denver Von or Buffalo Von. But Peters and Dan Quinn saw something different, a chance to use a proven pass-rushing savant as a specialist, not a savior. And so far, it's been a home run. Miller has been on the field for just under 40% of defensive snaps, the perfect balance between efficiency and preservation. But in those limited reps, he's already racked up 3 sacks and 10 total pressures through the first 5 games. At that pace, he could legitimately reach double-digit sacks, which is far beyond what anyone outside the building thought possible. What's even more impressive is how Miller's impact is being felt. He's not just making plays, he's changing how opponents play everyone else. Teams are still double-teaming him. They're still sliding protection his way. That's giving guys like Dorrance Armstrong the freedom to wreak havoc. Armstrong's got 5 sacks already, tied for second in the entire NFL. And a big part of that is the chaos Miller creates even when he's not the one getting the sack. It's not on the stat sheet, but it's all over the film. And it's not just the X's and O's. Behind closed doors, Miller's presence has elevated the tone of the locker room. Young players talk about him like a walking football encyclopedia, calm, humble, and sharp. He's been mentoring younger defenders, talking technique, mindset, recovery, the kind of stuff that extends careers and builds winning habits. It's exactly the kind of leadership this team was missing last year. Dan Quinn has been careful about managing Miller's snaps, making sure he's fresh for the stretch run and, fingers crossed, another playoff push. But if this keeps up, Adam Peters might have just pulled off one of the best low-cost free agent signings in the entire NFL. Now, from one veteran star to a brand new name that's taking DC by storm. Commanders fans, if you haven't been paying attention to Ja'Cory Cross-Key-Merritt, you need to start now, because this rookie running back is quickly becoming the talk of the locker room. Drafted all the way down at number 245 overall, Cross-Key-Merritt came into camp as a long shot, a 7th-round pick trying to make the team, but from day one, he's been nothing short of electric. His teammates rave about his work ethic, coaches love his vision, fans, they just love watching him play. At first, the opportunities were limited. With Austin Eckler going down in week 2 with an Achilles injury, the backfield turned into a committee. For a while, Chris Rodriguez Jr. looked like the next man up. He had some nice flashes, including a 48-yard breakaway run in week 4, and seemed to be carving out his role. But then came the game against the Los Angeles Chargers, and everything changed. Cross-Key-Merritt got his chance and absolutely exploded. He posted 150 total yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns on just 16 touches. That's not just a solid game. That's the kind of breakout performance that gets the entire NFL to start watching film on you. The rookie's running style is a mix of patience and power. He waits for blocks to develop, something rare for a young back, and then hits the hole with surprising burst. And he's not just a runner, he's developing as a receiver too. After catching just 15 yards worth of passes over the first month of the season, he turned in 39 yards receiving in that Chargers win. That kind of growth in real time is exactly what you want from a developmental player. Dan Quinn later said that the decision to feature Krosky Merritt that heavily was scheme-related. Basically, the Chargers' gap defense fit his running style perfectly. But if you ask around Ashburn, it's clear this wasn't a one-time thing. The offensive staff sees a star in the making. Run game coordinator Anthony Lynn has been a vocal supporter, and with Washington's next 2 games against teams struggling to stop the run, the Bears and Cowboys, fans could see Krosky Merritt unleashed again. Of course, that means fewer touches for guys like Rodriguez and McNichols, but that's the nature of competition in the NFL. When a player gets hot, you ride the wave, and right now, the wave's wearing number 35. Through 5 weeks, Krosky Merritt actually leads the entire NFL in yards per carry. Let that sink in. A 7th-round rookie, from relative obscurity, sitting at the top of one of the most competitive stats in the league. You can see the confidence growing with every snap. The players see it too. Jaden Daniels trusts him in protection, the offensive line feeds off of his energy, and fans, well, you can feel the excitement building around this kid. He's not just making plays, he's embodying the new Commanders culture that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are building. Gritty, smart, and fearless. When you step back and look at the full picture, these 2 stories tell you everything about what's happening in DC right now. It's not luck. It's not just talent. It's team building done right. You've got a GM in Adam Peters who takes smart risks, like signing a 36-year-old pass rusher that everyone else wrote off. You've got a coaching staff that knows how to use players correctly, maximizing strengths instead of forcing roles. And you've got young players buying in, hungry to prove they belong. The result? The Commanders are staying competitive through injuries, grinding out wins, and sitting firmly in the playoff mix, all while building an identity that feels sustainable. And for fans who've been waiting years for real stability, this version of the Washington Commanders feels different. The energy is different. The results are starting to show. Von Miller's $6 million deal might end up being the best money Adam Peters has ever spent. And Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, he might be one of those rare late-round finds that turns into a franchise cornerstone. Either way, the message is clear. The Commanders are no longer rebuilding, they're reloading. The Commanders quietly brought in Drake Jackson, a name that might ring a bell for some NFL fans, a once promising edge rusher drafted in the 2nd round by the San Francisco 49ers. Now, that's an interesting connection already, because Adam Peters, our general manager, was part of that very front office that selected Jackson out of USC back in 2022. Peters saw firsthand the raw explosiveness that made him one of the more exciting young pass rushers in that draft class. But things didn't go according to plan. Injuries hit, opportunities dried up, and soon Jackson found himself fading from San Francisco's rotation, a harsh reminder of how fast the NFL can move on from potential. After 2 largely lost seasons, the 49ers finally cut ties, and that's when the Commanders, among a few other teams, decided to take a closer look. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Washington was one of 3 franchises that scheduled meetings with Jackson, along with the Jets and the Ravens. The goal was simple: see if there's still some juice left in the tank. So what happened during that visit in Ashburn? Well, the NFL Transaction Wire confirmed that Drake Jackson spent time with the Commanders this week. Typically, that means he went through a workout, some drills, and most importantly, a medical evaluation. For a player with his injury history, the physical is everything. And then, silence. No deal, no announcement, no leaks from the building. Jackson left Washington without signing and is now reportedly headed to meet with the Jets and the Ravens next. That doesn't necessarily mean Washington isn't interested, but it does suggest that the team wasn't fully convinced. And here's where it gets interesting. If Adam Peters and Dan Quinn were completely sold that Jackson could contribute right away, he wouldn't have left the facility without a contract. That's how Peters operates. We've seen it before. When he believes in a player, he moves decisively. This time, he didn't. That tells us one of 2 things. Either Jackson's workout didn't show enough to justify a roster move, or Peters wants to keep his options open while monitoring other potential upgrades. Now, here's the twist in all of this. Washington's pass rush has actually been one of the biggest surprises of the 2025 season. Remember back in August when everyone was worried about depth on the defensive line after all those offseason changes? Fast forward to now, and this group has silenced every critic in sight. Dorrance Armstrong, Jonathan Allen, Matharian Mathis, Andre Jones Jr., and yes, even Von Miller have come together to form one of the most productive fronts in the NFC. They're not just getting to the quarterback, they're stuffing the run and dictating games in the trenches. So why even look at someone like Drake Jackson? Because that's who Adam Peters is. He never stops looking for an edge, literally and figuratively. He believes in competition at every position, and he's always scouting for low-risk, high-upside opportunities. In this case, though, it might just be a matter of timing. Washington's current rotation is clicking. The chemistry is strong. Disrupting that now for a player who's still trying to prove he's healthy might not make much sense. But Peters isn't one to close a door completely. If Jackson impresses elsewhere, or if